Yo, what's up, my boys? Zoran Trades with another banger, and today's a little bit of a different kind of video. I'm not going to be giving you guys any trading source or trading tips or explaining any trading concepts. I'm actually just going to be giving you guys a little bit of insight, or to some of you guys a reminder of why day trading is actually the best business model that you can get into in 2026. And without further ado, let's get into it. I've prepared a little presentation for you guys that I'm going to get into, but before I actually open that, I just wanted to say one thing. Day trading is actually the only business model that literally can't die because of the fact that it's not based around hype, right? TikTok Shop, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, all these things, you could be replaced by an easier service. You could be replaced by the fact that people just aren't willing and aren't trying to buy these products from you anymore. There might not be a demand for your product, but with the market, it's you versus you, right? And whether you develop a strategy that might not work in 5 or 10 years time, you as a trader, if you're a good trader, you will be able to adapt yourself to the markets, and that comes with calling yourself a profitable trader. But without further ado, let's get into this little presentation that I got for you guys. Here we go. So, how trading can change your life, and obviously this ties into why it is the best business model that you can get into. So at the end of it, once you are genuinely good at trading, you're convicted in your system, you know how to trade, and you have all the data to back that you know how to trade, you are going to be working between 0 and 2 hours a day on trading. Meaning that what you have the entire day to do whatever you want. And that could be helping and learning how to reinvest this money. That could be chilling on the beach, drinking cocktails. That could be whatever you want. But that freedom is something that you can almost get in no other profession. Because even a profession that allows you to work remotely, still going to have hours and hours of work that you have to get done. And aside from that, you can't choose not to work, right? With trading, you can choose to just not trade. You're not going to get paid for those days you take out of the market, but you can just simply choose not to trade. Whereas when you're working for somebody or an agency owner where you have clients whose demands you need to meet, you have this external pressure that often the pressure isn't actually from a work overload, but from the fact that you don't control when you do this work. And secondly is repetition. So obviously with trading, it's a skill that you're learning. It's a repetition that you're putting in. You're putting in reps, and the system that you're learning ideally will be repeatable, meaning you aren't just going into the markets every day thinking, oh, this looks cool, this is bullish, this is high, let me just buy. You actually have a system that you're repeating every day and getting better and better and better at. So unlike other things where, okay, of course, in drop shipping or SMMA and all these things, you're going to get better at delivering a service, but you're going to have to just fully change up when you have to get a new product or when the trends change. But ideally, a trading system is something you can use for years and years because the markets are based on psychology and don't just change up like that. Scalability is the next thing, and that's something I'm going to get into with the next slide. But trading is probably the most scalable business model that there is right now. There is really not anything that is more scalable than day trading, just because of the fact, specifically prop firm trading, because of the fact that you can copy trade multiple accounts. But in trading as a whole, you decide how much money you make. You decide how much money you risk. There isn't a maximum amount of clients that you can have in a month. You are literally the decider of how much money you want to make. How many accounts do you want to trade on? How much are you trying to risk on these trades? And if you look at it, 10% of $50,000 in a month, right? That 10%, if you are risking 1% of your trade to make 1.5 or 2%, that's 5 winning trades in a row, 5 to 10 winning trades, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be in a row because it's in a month. So you could win 15 and lose 4, you know? And 10% of only $50,000, only 10% is literally $5,000. And you might be thinking, okay, I don't have $50,000, so that doesn't really help me, but that's what we're going to get into in a second. And this is just a little bit of a visual representation that I just made for you guys here. So as we can see, the $50 a day clothing store looks like this, right? It's a side of the road store. You know, this store makes about $50 a day. And this store down here, $5,000 a day clothing store, For them to go from this to this, what do we have to do? We have to expand our locations. We have to hire new staff. We have to literally change the entire strategy that the business follows, right? We have to use longer work hours. We need a new client base. We literally need to revamp our entire business. It's night and day difference, right? There's nothing similar between those two shops. But a trade that makes you $50 in a day looks like this, right? For example, in this case, we had a 3-minute inverse fair value gap, down, nice, beautiful, okay? And then a $5,000 trade looks like this. For some of you guys who might not realize, this is the exact same trade. And that is because you don't need to change the way you trade once you are looking to scale, right? With any business model, if you're trying to go from 10K to 50K scaling with an agency, right? Now you're going from having 1 client to having 4 clients, or going from a small business to a big business. There's going to be new steps higher that you need to take. Where in trading, the only step higher that there is yourself. The only limitation to make more money is yourself and how detached you're able to be from this money. But the trade will remain the same. You can fund an account with $10 and turn that trade into $20, and that same trade is the same trade you can take across 20 funded accounts, risking $1,000 per trade, and make $20,000 in one trade. Exact same trade. And that is the beauty of it, because once you learn the skill and you're actively improving on it and getting better and better, it's not like you have to learn, get to a point and then just reset. No, you are just applying this knowledge and just scaling and scaling and scaling. And again, you're probably wondering, how the hell does this play out though? I don't have this much money. I don't have $50,000 to trade with, and I don't have $100,000 to trade with. I don't even have $1,000 to trade with. And that is where we're gonna get into with this. The last thing in trading that makes it the best business model that we currently have is leverage, right? Trading is such a good access to leverage. And when you look at rich people, the way they live their life is on leverage. The way they make their money is looking to leverage as much of their assets as possible. They won't leave their money in a house that they stay in, because they would rather leave it in a house that makes them money and then stay in a house that is a bad investment, you know, because the chances are the house that they want to stay in anyways. And with this, it's the same thing. Trading allows us so much leverage, right? And this is what I'm going to show you guys next. These are prop firm accounts, right? This is something called a prop firm account. And on these prop firm accounts, these are just the percentages that we're going to be looking over. So on a 5K account, you risk 1%, you target 2%, and let's just say in the week you make 5%. On a $5,000 account, that is literally like 1 to 2 trades, maybe 3 trades, and that's $250 on a 5K account. That is such a small account, right? And on a 50K account, notice how it's the same 1% risk or 2% target, but suddenly it's $1,000, right? Now it's $1,000 per account, or on a 50K account, and 5% is $2,500, making 5%. And where does this help us? Because of something called prop firms, right? Because prop firms allow us to have a simulated trading experience that we get paid for, and we are able to trade with the equivalent of 50, 100, 25, or 10, or whatever $1,000 for a very, very low price, right? Because we can see here 50,000, and this is a CFD prop firm. Futures prop firms are even cheaper, right? You can actually get access to a $50,000 funded account for about $50 with TopStep. So this leverage is going to be immense for you, because if you can withdraw 10% of that account, right, that's $5,000. You could try 4 times, fail, and by the 10th time get your investments paid back tenfold. So that is a very, very big part in why trading is such a good business model. And that ultimately also ties into the fact that the leverage that we get isn't in a different business model, right? You can't start Amazon ads and then just get 10 times what you're paying for your ads. Like, there isn't anything that really compares to it. And this is genuinely a very, very good opportunity that you should look to capitalize on as soon as possible while it's still there, because this concept might not be here forever. But without further ado, boys, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for everybody who popped into this. And yeah, I hope for anybody who's been looking into trading, I hope I motivated you and you actually are going to take the steps now to look into it, maybe look at a few more of my videos. And if you already trade, I hope that this just reminded you why we were on this journey and why it is that we actually do this. Because when you're in that in-between zone where you've just rearranged your room and all the shit's on the floor, but you haven't put it back, so now you're in that in-between phase where it's like you're moving from the old room into the new room and now you have no room, you might forget why it is that we actually start this. So I hope that I reminded you why it is that we actually do this. And yeah, boys, much love. Thank you for everyone who's been popping into these. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.